Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Bibs Corner podcast. Cold open here, so no music in the intro, of course. The preseason is finally over. The next time we see the Mavericks, it'll count. And I'm very glad the preseason is behind us. I'm very glad that we're going to be getting into some real basketball here in a second. I am recording this it's currently 1:12 a.m. Where I am, at least. I am topless right now. I'm tired. My voice is not in peak condition. I got some water here, so we'll keep that on tap. But man, the game was interesting in my opinion. I was curious to see how the Timberwolves came out. We knew they had Karl Anthony Towns in the middle. I was curious to see if Rick switched to starting lineups. He did not. Dwight Powell, Dorian Finney-Smith were the bigs yet again. I guess that is what it is. Hardaway got out to a nice hot start. Luka was crying all night to the refs. Got a nice little tech. 2 techs in 3 games for Luka. That's not a great start either. So besides not necessarily being in the greatest physical condition, which you should expect with the way the offseason went, and not being able to get into a real conditioning program. But he is in peak complaining condition. That part is there. So he definitely looked like himself out there in the wrong way, because that is probably the worst part of his game right now is the amount of complaining. I mean, about little weak calls. It's really annoying. You have to learn to pick your battles. You have to learn that you catch more flies with honey. Luka needs to learn that if he feels like somebody's doing something to him consistently, or the refs are missing a certain call, during the dead balls is when you go talk to the refs. When you do it the way he does it, where he's calling refs out, he's hanging back after plays. One, you're hurting your team by not getting back on defense and taking yourself out of the rhythm of the game. But then also, that ref is a human being too. Yes, they have a job to do and they're professionals, but you yell at me while I'm on my job, I'm going to do the bare minimum. The bare minimum. You yell at me, disrespect me like you think you're more important than me, or you can just talk down to me. The customer is always right. You got that attitude. You can't talk to me like a person. You can't meet me on a human level. Then, I'm not going to call those little calls. Now, if you come to me off to the side and say, hey, man, you missed this a little earlier. Josh Okogie, every time I drive to the lane, he's pulling my arm down. You tell me that like that, maybe I can work with you at that point. Now we have a relationship. Now we're building a rapport. You're showing me respect, and therefore I'm going to show you respect. And these are things that I learned. I don't know how it goes for most people. These are things that I learned in Pop Warner football and stuff. The ref will tell you, hey, next time just let me know. Refs usually want to be right. They don't want to be wrong. They don't like missing calls. But if you yell at me, you look at me, you disrespect me, you talk down to me, I'm not calling everything. They know they have a certain number of little ticky-tack calls that they're going to let slide. And the more you yell at me, the more of those I'm letting slide. It is what it is. And Luka's setting himself and the team up for failure by acting the way he does towards refs. I did not intend to go on that rant, but there it is. The starters actually played in this game more than I expected. Luka and J. Rich, for example, played about 27 minutes each. We did lose this game in overtime. I know I have at least one listener who wants to know how the game went. So we did lose the game in overtime. It was a good back and forth affair throughout most of the game. When we got to the deep bench, that's when things kind of fell apart. I think the Wolves went on a run against our rookies, forced overtime. I think Terry had the last shot in regulation and got blocked. And then in overtime, it looked like it was over, but Nate Hinton, it's never over when you got Nate Hinton on the court type of situation. Rushed it up the court, got fouled, went to the line. All of a sudden, it was a 2-point game again. We drew up a play. Looked like it was for Terry initially. Terry did not get loose off for the shot. I think the next guy through was maybe Hinton. He didn't get open either. So then the ball goes into Boban. Splash Mountain. He almost hit it. It was close. It was in and out. Did not make the shot. Everybody was going crazy waiting for it to go in. But we lost that game in OT by 2 points. And then the controversy of the night on the timeline was, of course, Dwight Powell. I don't feel like going on a rant. You want to hear a good rant on that? Check out the No Name Mavs pod with Kenny. He had the Balls Cast crew on yesterday. So go check that out, and you'll hear pretty much how I feel about the Dwight Powell situation and fans getting super defensive anytime you talk negatively about him. I'll probably touch on that when we get to the stats portion, but that's it for the cold open. I'm trying not to ramble. I would like to get in bed at a somewhat godly hour, so we'll take a quick break and then we'll jump into these stats. All right, folks, welcome back yet again to the Bibbs Corner podcast. I am your host, as always, Mike Bibbins. That's on Twitter at Bibbs Corner. I'm going to get into these stats, but first I do have to tell you guys I have left the survey up. It's my pinned tweet on my account. You can go there, fill out that survey. It's 10 questions, probably take you a minute. Give me feedback on the podcast because I am trying to better tailor it to what you guys want. I'm super noob at this and trying to get better, trying to find ways that I can enhance the product. I'm getting more and more listeners now, and again, that I want to make sure that continues. So if you have suggestions, if you have feedback you want me to see, definitely do that. If you love the show, you're a religious listener, feel free to drop by Apple Podcasts and leave me a 5-star review. That helps other people get to the show. So even if you don't have Apple Podcasts, I think you should at least have an Apple account. I don't know if you have to have necessarily a subscription or anything like that, but you have to have an Apple account. So anyway, with that all out of the way, let's get into these numbers. Again, I mentioned Luka and Jay Rich played 27 minutes or so. Luka did finish with 20 points, 5 boards, 7 assists. However, he was 6 for 18 from the field and 0 for 6 from 3. So in the first couple of games, he actually shot pretty well from 3, and it was very encouraging. His form looked good, all that. Tonight at home, he was off, and I don't know what that was about. I hope it was a fluke, but 0 for 6 from 3 is rough. However, he'd been missing free throws in the first 2 games, and he was 8 for 9 from the line. So I guess it's one or the other for him right now. We'll find out on Wednesday what's real and what's not, but definitely was not exciting to see him have a real rough game. And then, like I mentioned, a lot of crying to the refs after every single play. Could have gotten teed up within the first 5 minutes of the game with how he was acting. I think it didn't happen until the third quarter, if I'm not mistaken. But, again, just a lot of crying about little stuff. Like, it wasn't like he was getting hacked and not getting calls. Like, every little touch foul, he wanted it. And if you didn't give it to him, he was in your ear. He's got to, again, learn how to pick his battles. I don't know what Rick is doing, but Rick's got to shut that down. Next, Jay Rich. He, again, continues to look good. 13 points, 3 boards, 3 assists tonight. He was 5 for 8 from the field and 3 for 5 from 3. I think he'd only missed 1 3 in each of the first 2 games, so it was tough to see him miss 2, but no, I'm just kidding. 60% from 3 tonight. Like, he's shooting ridiculously. All the shots, again, are wide open. And that's the way our offense operates. Somebody's going to get a wide open 3. The question is if you're going to knock it down or not. And Jay Rich has been taking advantage of that. I love the way his stroke looks. Pause. Comes off his hand clean every time. And I think he's going to feast in this offense. I'm very excited to see what he's going to do on this team. DFS played 25 minutes, so did THJ. DFS had 13 points, 5 boards, and 2 blocks. He was 5 for 7 from the field and 3 for 3 from 3. That first game was kind of rough with him starting out there, but the last two, he's been much better. Again, 3 for 3 from 3, all wide open, and you just got to hit it. And he's been working on that shot, obviously, and he's knocking it down, so you have to love that. THJ, 18.6 boards, 3 assists. He also had a block. 6 for 8 from the field, 4 for 5 from 3. Got out to a really hot start in this one. Felt like he couldn't miss. Forced a couple later, but again, you can't be mad at a guy going 6 for 8. And this is THJ. You know, he had a couple rough ones. He comes out here and lights it up in this third one. So I think I've already accepted the Luka, J. Rich, THJ situation. The way I look at it is J. Rich is the point guard, THJ is the 2, and Luka's the 3 defensively. And that helps me get past that portion of it. It's clear that when KP comes back, it's Powell or DFS that are going to the bench. Most likely Powell. I don't even know if Powell's going to be the starter at the beginning of the season. Rick's lineups, trying to predict them or figure out what he's doing is impossible. Maybe this was a whole deep fake to make people think that Powell's going to start, so they put their game plans around dunking everything, and then he throws Willie Collins. I don't know. We don't know. So, anyway, good to see THJ get his shot to fall, and when he's going to be on, it's going to be tough to beat us in a regular season game. Finally, Dwight Powell was the last starter. He played 20 minutes. He had 8 points, 6 boards, 3 assists. He was 3 for 8 from the field and 1 for 3 from 3. Basically forced into taking threes because Cat was playing off of him. He can't be the starter, man. There's no scenario in which starting him makes any sense. Don't care if it's, you don't want to put all your best players out there. I understand that. I understand not putting Maxey in that place for him, even though that would make for a better team, which we saw actually at the end of the, second quarter. Maxey was out there with starters, and they went on a 14-2 run or something like that. Obviously, it's better basketball sense as far as if you're putting your best 5 out there. But as far as making sure you space out your scores, Maxey's been probably our third best scorer behind Luka and J. Rich this preseason, with the way THJ was shooting in those early games. So you don't want to put all your scores in that one lineup. I get that. But you can't tell me that Dwight Powell is better than Willie Cauley-Stein. You can't tell me that it's negligible, the differences between those two, either. The fact that Willie Cauley-Stein might actually potentially get in the way at some point on defense, even if you don't believe he's a rim protector or whatever, I would prefer a guy who's going to foul the other guy at the rim and make them earn it from the line versus Dwight Powell, who is nowhere to be found on the interior on defense. Just there's no logic behind it. You can't even say that Willie Cauley-Stein is too new to the team, because he was on the team at the end of the year last year before we went into the bubble. So he had a couple months in the system. He knew all our stuff all summer, all bubble. He watched us and watched tape or whatever. He was tapped in to the team. He was a member of the team, even if he wasn't in the bubble necessarily. And so now he comes back in. He knows the system. He knows the players. And I don't know how long. Again, I'm spending way too much time on this. We don't know what's going to happen against Phoenix. I would love to find out right before the game that Willie Cauley-Stein is starting. That would be a completely different look for this team. We'll get to him in a minute. Going to the bench, Josh Green actually played the next most minutes. He played 19 minutes, had 3 points, 1 board, 3 assists, was 1 for 5 from the field and 1 for 1 from the 3. He was very quiet. Did not make a lot of noise tonight. Which, again, he's a rookie. You have to expect that. I don't think he's hurt his standing in the rotation or anything like that. I do expect him to still be in that second five off the bench. I don't expect we'll see what he's capable of or even close to that, at least on a consistent basis, until at least halfway through the season. He still looks like he's trying to find his way, trying to adjust to the speed of the game, etc. and so forth. Maxey played 17 minutes off the bench. He had 14 points, 1 board, 4 blocks, including blocks on Anthony Edwards. I think he had 2 against Ant, and then maybe 2 against Cat. I can't remember if it was 2 blocks against Cat or not. He was 4 for 6 from the 3. That was all his field goal attempts. He did have an injury scare early in the game, like he hurt his hand or finger in some way. I saw the trainer checking it out, but did not affect him in the game as far as I could tell. Burke also played 17 minutes, 9 points, 4 assists. He was 3 for 5 from the field and 1 of 3 from 3. Did what he does. He's going to get his shots up. Wish his 3-point percent. I feel like he's been 1 for 3 or something like that in each of the first 3 games. So you would like to see him get a little hotter from 3 at some point. But again, as of now, he's going to score, and he's doing a decent job of moving the ball as well, which we can't say for his backcourt mate. We'll get to him in a second. James Johnson played about 17 minutes in this one, which I believe is the most he's played all preseason. He had 5 points, 3 boards, and 4 assists and a block. 2 for 5 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3. Just works hard, can handle the ball, has a lot of things in his game. Pretty much Swiss Army knife. You can put him in there wherever you want, and he's going to make a little noise, get in the way, cause a little ruckus. So he is what he is. In my opinion, I wouldn't want to go much time while KP is out without Johnson or Maxey on the court. That's my opinion. Brunson played 15 minutes, 5 points, 4 boards, 0 assists. He was 1 for 9 from the field, 1 of 3 from 3. Both of the smaller guys didn't look great tonight on one or both ends. The Mavs tried to run a zone to kind of hide them, but Minnesota, they don't have any midgets in Minnesota anymore. All their guards are big and strong, and so Burke and Brunson had a hard time. Brunson was not able to distribute or didn't try. I don't know what it was, but was not moving the ball and was just throwing up everything. People are complaining about Brunson running that second unit, and when he has a night like this, it's easy to see why that's kind of justified. Tonight, for the first time again, and I know some of y'all hate this idea, but for the first time again, the idea of Brunson being a trade piece crossed my mind. I actually have just now thought of a trade that I would work for probably both teams, but I'm not going to say that out loud. If you know me, you probably could guess it. So, yeah, I'm not going to say that. Anyway, then we moved to the rookies who didn't play till late in the game. We kind of seemed like we took the game seriously till late in the fourth quarter. Tyrell Terry did play 10 minutes. He had 2 points, a board, and an assist. He was 1 of 5 from the field and got blocked on multiple shot attempts. I mean, he just looks like a small, young rookie. It is what it is. Bay actually did stand out a little bit finally this time. He had 4 points and 4 boards and a steal. He was 0 for 3 from the field, 0 for 1 from 3, but active. I feel like he's, like I said, a guy you could throw out there for 8 to 10 minutes and can get some productivity out of, like right now. The beauty of these guys is that they don't have to contribute right now. We're in such a better place with this team that we don't have to throw our rookies to the wolves. That we can. I don't know what's going on with the Texas Legends. I probably should look into that since I'm supposed to be caring and informative and things of that nature. But even if they're just practicing, I think that's valuable for those guys versus just being with the big team, getting some real burn in real scrimmages and stuff like that, because I doubt the big team is doing a lot of that with them anyway, as the third, at best, unit. Boban played about 10 minutes as well, 6 points, 2 boards. Courtney Lee actually got into the game for about 6 minutes. He had 3 points. Kylie Stein only played 5 minutes and 43 seconds. I don't know if Rick is hiding him. I'm not going to speculate. He had 2 points and 3 boards as well. Nate Hinton also played 5 minutes. He had 2 points and a board and was just hustling. I mean, Nate Hinton is Nate Hinton. Love that kid. Not sure how much we'll see of him now that the regular season is underway. But if there's any type of G League situation happening, I'll be looking for his clips in Frisco. We'll take another quick break, and then we'll get into these final segments because I'm not trying to be recording all night. Okay, welcome back. Getting into the new segments, player of the game tonight. I actually had to think about this one a little bit. I'm going to give it to THJ. I was a little hard on him in that first game for not hitting. He was hitting tonight. Can't be mad at that. Beautiful to see him go in the preseason on a high note, and hopefully he comes out firing again on Wednesday. Where was I at? The tweet of the night came from none other than friend of the show, Sydney Myers. And that's @_Sydney Myers. Her tweet was Mavs fans trying to explain the Pal over Maxey decision. And it was the picture of the ancient aliens guy with the hand, if you're familiar with the meme. Perfect picture, perfect summary of my experience tonight on the Twitters. But let's get into these questions. I did put the call out for questions. I left that window open for 30 minutes, and whoever got it in, just got it in. So the first comment actually was more of a comment than a question. Mavs Lad or @Mavs Lad, how dare you be right about Tyrell Terry? Look, man, when I say things, I never talk out of my ass. I think y'all should know that by now. Anytime I'm talking about something, I'm saying it because I put thought into it, I put time into it, I put research into it. I don't give hot takes. I give informed decisions and information. I don't like being wrong. I prefer to be right. And if I'm saying something, I'm saying it because I actually believe in it. So Tyrell Terry, my observation was the only skill he had that was NBA ready was his ability to shoot. And then the question becomes, can he get open? Can he go off of screens? Can he handle the ball well enough to not get stripped every time? And again, preseason, no summer league, no real training camp. He's pretty much thrown to the wolves. It's going to be a little while before he's ready to be on an NBA basketball court and contributing in any real fashion. And there's nothing wrong with that. People seem to get very defensive when you don't have just glowing endorsements of every player on the roster. And it is what it is. I'm not going to fight that too much. I almost did it tonight with Dwight Powell. It is what it is. Terry's young. He's going to get better. He's going to get stronger. And he's a legitimate asset right now. First real question comes from @A_D Mavs. Can the Mavs be a top 12 defense in the NBA? And I meant to double check something with that because I think top 12, you know what? I'm not going to do the research. I'm going to run down this because I'm not trying to be up all night. I think we can. I think with Richardson, I think with Maxey being Maxey again, with KP potentially coming back to being what he was, a meniscus isn't usually that hindering. With James Johnson in tow, I think we can be a much better defensive team. And top 12 is not that much above the middle of the pack. So, yes, I think it's a legitimate chance. If we can get to just the middle of the pack or even slightly behind, if we can get top 18, we'd be in a very great position. We'd be where I want to be, which is a top 4 team in the West. So I think it is possible if Rick decides to run out smart lineups, we'll be in a great position. Let's see what else we got. NRD, MFFL from the Balls cast. Queso or guac, 100% team queso. I think I tried guac once, but as a young African-American male whose family comes from poverty, the whole idea of guacamole never really hit for me. And I don't like being judged by the elites, or I don't like being judged by the political people who think that millennials just eat guac all the time and need to be saving money for their LLCs. I got off track, sorry. At M Chisholm, or I guess the M is for Michael. Is James Johnson the second most talented passer on the Mavs? That is a interesting question. I'm not ready to say that. I haven't seen enough. I think Richardson is a pretty good passer. I think we've got some other guys that have not been able to really show their passing, but with Burke and Brunson being the only other real guards on the team, it's easy to say that Johnson's probably in that conversation. I'll say that. Let's see. I don't think I responded to this. Amino Acid said, I had this idea that Green will be more of a cutter on offense, but he looks much more like a spot-up shooter. Is this because he just doesn't know NBA angles yet, or do you think this is more of his game? Personally, I think, like I said, I don't think we're going to know what Josh Green is going to look like until about halfway through the season. I do think that they'll figure out that the best way to get him involved in the offense is off of cuts and diving to the rim and creating lanes for him to get to the rim. But again, that's going to take time to work into the offense, because it's not something that we've really had over the past year and a half or two. So Rick will figure it out. He'll get him involved. He'll make him effective. And if we're able to do that with him getting action to the rim, that's only going to open up more shooters on the perimeter as well. So, and he's also shown that he's willing to move the ball. So if his drives or lanes get cut off after he gets the ball, we know he's going to swing it and not force things. So that's a positive. Let's see. I'm a Bill 01, NOTIMABILL 01, building. He said, are you concerned about the Terry performance? Seems a little early to judge, in my opinion. Saw some people who were not happy on the timeline. Also, who did the Mavs start at center? And a smiley face, because that's a joke about the whole Powell situation. So, as far as Terry, no, I'm not concerned about the performance. He looks exactly how I expected him to look. For the people that expected more, you did this to yourselves if you're disappointed or hurt. Again, he's young, skinny kid. He wasn't going to come into the NBA and just start lighting people up. He needs time to develop his body. He needs time to get used to the length and strength of NBA players. I'm not even going to put the timeline I have in my head out there, because I'll hurt some feelings again. As far as who should start at center, I would prefer Willie Cauley-Stein be the starter. That way you could still have Maxey come off the bench, and you could still have Dwight Powell play with Maxey off the bench. Personally, I don't like the whole tiny lineup thing, but it seems like we're married to it, so it is what it is. I want James Johnson playing at least 12 to 15 minutes a night as well. So however you need to mix and match the guys is what needs to happen. Just throw bodies out there. We should be throwing them out in waves. We should be trying to minimize our opponent's effectiveness based on who we know they're going to start. So 4 of our first 5 games are against teams that like to play big. I would like us to at least have some semblance of a way to take advantage of that in one way or another. And Dwight Powell is not the answer in any of those scenarios. Next question came from Eric's 21069. We kind of had a discussion about this. I'm just going to bring it up because it was funny. Did you see the Blake Griffin smile at Thomas Bryant? I'm trying to be rough with him. I ended up finding the video, and Blake literally grabs Thomas Bryant and throws him to the ground just because Bryant was posting him up on a fast break and had sealed him under the rim, and I guess he didn't want to give up the 2. So he just slung him to the ground, and Bryant like flopped and made it extra exaggerated, and then gets up and like half-heartedly tries to fight him. You know how NBA players do. And Blake's just smiling the whole time. And there's a picture of it, and it looks like you see Bryant from the back, but it just looks like he's trying to murder Blake, and Blake has like the goofiest smile on his face. It's hilarious. If you haven't seen that clip, I did retweet it, I believe, or I responded to that Eric's tweet and posted the link. Let's see. Ayan97 said, if Maxey was a regular starting center, who do you think? What do I think his potential would be? This question actually came after I closed it, so I responded to it on the timeline. I'll just read what I said. I said, personally, I'm not a fan of starting him at the 5. We did it some last year, and it limited his effectiveness as an interior or as a defender, really. He's better being able to be a weak side or perimeter defender versus having to guard bigger guys on ball. With that said, if he was forced into a starting role, I think he could average somewhere in the mid-teens in scoring, about 6 rebounds and 2.5 blocks, while being a very switchable big, and still somewhat of a liability if anybody ever decided to take advantage of him in the paint. MFFL 7741 said, I'm afraid of the Suns and I don't know why. I asked him to elaborate. He decided to change it to a question. Said, are you confident we pull out the W on Wednesday? No, I'm not. I don't have any reason to be at this point in time. I think the Suns have a lot of firepower. We got to be on our game defensively. And if Dwight Powell is on the court, we will not be on our game defensively. So the way we've played this preseason has me concerned as far as that goes. I love the idea of seeing how Richardson deals with Booker in that first game. I know the Suns are going to have shooters upon the deck everywhere. I'm assuming Timmy is going to end up on Chris Paul. I don't know how they're going to play it. I feel like they're always going to have one guy who is going to have a good matchup to exploit. And Chris Paul is probably going to feast on picking us apart in that way if we, again, allow 2 guys to be on the court who are not even really serviceable defenders. I hope it doesn't take a Herculean effort from Luka, but that's probably what it's going to end up taking. Let's see. PNWMFFL said, how does keeping your hands straight up in the air like you're protecting the rim help you get a rebound? Asking for my buddy DP. That's just disrespectful. I'll answer it anyway. I don't know what Dwight Powell is doing half the time on the defensive side of the ball and or rebounding. It is what it is. Like I said, shouldn't be playing more than 10 to 12 minutes a night, and only because KP is out should he even be getting that much time. What he does can be replaced by almost any athletic big man in the league. And Mojave King said, we seem to be a little weak on the bench, sparking the question of how we have a balance, especially with Porzingis coming back. I guess if the expected of the expected starters on opening day, who do you believe realistically is put on the bench for KP? I unfortunately don't think it'll be Powell. The way I see it is this: Rick doesn't do things the way we expect him to do it. He's always going to be tinkering with those lineups. I feel like he's been put in a really weird spot where I think he doesn't want to remove a lot of the guys that have been in the system for a while to the bench. And I even in the preseason, when I was like putting together lineups and stuff, struggled with what to do with Dorian Finney-Smith. I hate him at the 4 personally, but it seems like Rick is very much willing to play him long minutes at the 4. Yeah, I'm not sure what Rick is going to do. I don't even know if I want to speculate. Moving Dwight Powell to the bench doesn't boost the bench, in my opinion. If anything, it scares me that we're potentially not going to use a player like Willie Cauley-Stein as much as we probably should. I like Maxey being a piece off the bench. I like Burke as a piece off the bench. It's the rest of those guys that I'm worried about. And DFS being that guy would actually be a boost to the bench. So if it's not Dwight Powell, that probably is for the best for as far as having bench depth goes. If we can move DFS to the bench instead of Dwight Powell. The fact that it's Dwight Powell just annoys me. I don't even want to talk about it. Anyway, again, my ideal starting lineup would be Luka, Jay Rich, Tim Hardaway Jr., James Johnson, and KP when KP's back. And then off the bench, it would be Burke, Brunson, DFS, Maxey, Willie Cauley-Stein. That would be my second five. Dwight Powell would be the 11th man. Or like a spot big if one of the early other guys gets in foul trouble or something. Like I can't justify playing him more than that. Let's see. Did somebody DM me something? Oh, this is other stuff. I'm going to worry about that in a minute. And what is that? What happened? Okay. Yeah, that's nothing. Let's see if I'll see if a late question came in. Oh, Yogi Ferrell signed with the Jazz for all my Yogi Ferrell people out there, so I'm excited about that for him. I was hoping he got signed. Let's see. Okay. All right, let me cut this off because we're getting closer to the ungodly hours. And I'm going to do this by closing out with a closing statement. And this closing statement is something I said on the mailbag episode last week, but a lot less people watch the mailbag or listen to the mailbag episode than listen to some of the more recent episodes of recaps. So I'm bringing it back because I feel like it's an important message. And this is my parting thought of the night. Mavs fans, I need us to harken back to a time when it wasn't always about next year, where we weren't playing for next year, where we weren't plotting on what we can do next year. I want to get back to the years between 2000 and 2011 where everything was about this year and getting a ring this year. And what can we do with this team? Who do we have on this team that can get us to the promised land? And right now we've got a guy in Luka who is an MVP candidate. I can't remember who I was listening to, but they were talking about Porzingis being an MVP type candidate if healthy. Bubble KP was putting up 30 and 10. Those are all NBA type numbers. We have two incredibly talented players, a super tandem if he can stay, if KP is healthy, and we have no reason to believe that it's going to be like a nagging injury. If he gets hurt again, it's just going to be a brand new injury most likely. Playing him at the 5 doesn't make me feel good about his prospects long term, but I have no control over that. With that established, again, we have two all NBA caliber talents. We have Josh Richardson, who has looked like a guy who can easily get 20 every 2 or 3 games. We know Tim Hardaway can get us 20 every 2 or 3 games. They'll both average likely in the upper to mid-teens. We have Dorian Finney-Smith, whose three-point shot continues to improve every year. Maxey's three-point shot continues to improve every year. Trey Burke can get buckets off the bench. We have 5 different big men that we can throw out there depending on the scenario. We have a team that can make noise right now, do damage right now. Depending on how the season goes, guys get injured on other teams. Guys get disgruntled on other teams. We could easily end up in a situation where we're in the Western Conference Finals. So why spend all year talking about what free agents we can add to this team? Most of our key guys are not over 30 years old. Most of our key guys are in age ranges where they're going to get better. They can get better right now this year, and they can get better next year and the year after that. Now, if we find key flaws in this lineup and you say, oh, man, we would look good with a guy like XYZ, fine. But I can't stand every day logging into Twitter and seeing, does it make sense for us to make sure we can get such and such with a $30 million contract? Stop. We don't need to be doing that anymore. The failure days are behind us. We are a playoff team now, and not just a playoff team, a team that is building towards contention, close to contention, potentially in contention. You look at what the Miami Heat did last year in the bubble. Yes, it was weird circumstances, but they did it. And do we think that we're not as good as the Heat were last year? LeBron is not getting younger. Kawhi and the Clippers look really weird right now. I don't know what to expect from them. The Nuggets have guys. They have too many of redundancies on their team, and guys seem to be not happy with their roles. Does that create locker room issues that makes them susceptible to failure? The Blazers are probably well positioned to make some noise this year as well. Can they stay healthy though? The Jazz also seem to be very well positioned. Can they stay healthy? They have guys coming off of injuries. Anything is possible. We are in that pack of dangerous teams right now. Depending on how the cookies crumble, how the matchups fall for the playoffs, we could see ourselves in the finals very easily. And if you know that, then you should not be spending all your time talking about what we can do next season. So please, I beg you, the next time you log into Twitter and you're talking about the Mavs and if you see a player's name, I would love for your first thought not to be, he would look great in a Mavs uniform. I would love your first thought to be, this is how the Mavs can neutralize him. How about that for now? And when the time comes, when it's the trade deadline and the rumors are flying and things of that nature, then okay, let's have those conversations. If especially, again, by the time we get to middle of the season, we should know what our flaws are, where our weak points are. And if it makes sense to add a piece here and there, fantastic. I don't think we're really in a position where we could say we need another star. If KP gets hurt again, then yes, we probably should be a little bit thirsty for a star caliber player to fill his void if he's going to be out from time to time. However, until we get there, we should maybe be speculating about role-type players. That's fine. But it hurts my soul to think that people are looking past this season and just trying to build a super team to ensure rings versus fighting, scrapping, and clawing to try to get one with who we're with right now. I posted the distracted boyfriend meme earlier with Mavs fans looking at free agents versus paying attention to what we have in front of us. It's like the guy who's been in a relationship for a long time and the girl he's with, she cooks, she cleans, she's attentive to his needs. When he's down, she knows, she puts the game on and leaves him alone when she can tell he needs that. She takes care of him. But, she's been working hard too. Maybe she hasn't had enough time to take care of herself and do her makeup and wear certain clothes that she used to when you were early in a relationship. So now you're spending all your energy eyeing all these young girls out here in these streets and overlooking the gift you have in front of you. That's how I feel about y'all when I see this on the timeline all the time. Pay attention, take care of home first, and then worry about what's out there if it comes to that. If it comes to the relationship's not working. It's 2 a.m., man. I've been talking for too long. I appreciate you guys tuning in yet again. The next time you hear me, not the next time, the next recap will be for a real game. I will have real emotion and real concern about what occurred on the court. Before then, I am planning something that I'm going to keep under wraps for now. I'll just let it be a surprise. But again, thank you guys for tuning in. Again, if you enjoy the podcast, do me a favor and give me that 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. I will forever be indebted to you. But that's it. Peace.